Hopefully you guys have been enjoying our presentation so far. I'm going to be showing you an example of single exponential smoothing through Excel. So let's get started. Okay, first let's imagine you've been asked to create weekly forecasts for this example, let's say loaves of bread. And luckily for you, you paid attention in Dr. Napier's OPMA class and decided to use exponential smoothing because you feel that the most recent data is more indicative of what will happen in the future than older data. Okay, so let's go ahead and open Excel. I went ahead and pre-made a table. We're going to need a couple of more pieces of data since we already have the actual demand for the week, which is 22,000. We're going to need an alpha. To determine alpha, it's a judgment call. It's pretty much kind of like trial and error. But generally companies with stable demand usually have an alpha between 0.05 and 0.1, while companies that are experiencing growth might have an alpha between 0.15 and 0.30. Our company has a pretty stable demand, so let's use an alpha of 0.1. And we still don't have enough data to forecast using exponential smoothing since we don't have the prior forecasts. But a common thing that people do is they just use the first week's data, which is 22,000, and we can use that as our forecast for week 2. And let's say week 2's actual is 21,000. Now we have our 3 key pieces of data. To make a forecast for week 3 using exponential smoothing, we'll have the prior week's forecast, the prior week's actual, and the alpha. And as you may recall, the formula is going to be the forecast for the prior week plus the alpha, and that's going to be an absolute cell for us, times the actual for the prior week minus the forecast for the prior week again. Okay. Oh, sorry for the Excel noob mistake. I forgot to put a multiplication sign. And there you go. Pull up the formula again so you can see. Kind of to generalize what's happening here, it's the forecast will adjust itself by a percentage of the error, and in our case the error was 1,000 loaves of bread, and since our alpha is 0.1, it's 10% of that error. And also since the actual was less than the forecast, it had a negative effect on the next week's forecast, so it decreased itself by 10%, as you can see there. And now let's input another. And kind of already guess what will happen here. There you go. Once again, it was a 600 measurement error, or a 600 error, I'm sorry, and it was 0.1 of that 600. So it adjusts itself. Since the actual was more this time, it adjusts itself in a positive way. And we can keep inputting data. Let me pull up my graph or my chart. Week 4 is 21,000. 21,764. 29,64. As you can see, it's a fairly simple model to create. I'm using all this data because I want to show you guys something. And let's say, for instance, we are already in week 10. We can drag it all the way down. Oh, another new mistake, I'm sorry. There we go. Week 10's forecast would be 21,860. Now, what I wanted to show you guys was the graph or the line chart. to give you an idea what the constant does to the actual data. You can see it smooths it out, and there's the actual data. You can see the fluctuations. And one of the negatives about exponential smoothing is that it kind of lags behind. You can't really see it here, but it lags behind from the actual data. And say for instance our alpha was greater, like 0.9. The closer to 1 it is, the more it follows the actual data. And there you guys have it. That is exponential smoothing, or single exponential smoothing. Thank you.